There's a big high stakes showdown that's coming for your eyes, but is it really worth winning? Today, we're going to look at AI glasses or smart glasses and see if this battle royale between some really big companies going after this space is really worth it. And is it something that they should really be trying to go for? Now, today we're going to walk through a bunch of different aspects of this. I'm going to kind of give you the bull case, why people are really excited about this. I'm also going to talk a little bit about some of the risks. But overall, I do think that owning the interface here is worth the effort. And if you kind of think about some of the aspects of AI that are coming together here, it's really that it could shift us from being so heavily dependent on our phones as kind of the primary way that people access and interact with the internet and people around them. And that shift towards maybe having a different interface, a different place where you're getting some of that information, and that moving to glasses where you're able to kind of have more of a contextual awareness of what's around you. And AI can actually be helping you in interesting ways and providing some pretty cool moments of delight for you. So that's where I think I land on this. It's pretty clear. Like that interface is really, really awesome if you can own it. But I want to go through some more of the details of this. So I think some of this concept is really like the phone could be around you rather than on you in this new world. So what I mean by that is if you think about a lot of the times where you have your phone, you're on your phone, whether that's at home or at work, glasses might give you an opportunity to kind of more step away from it and still have your phone elsewhere in your house, let's say, but not attached to you, not like in your hand all the time. And same thing at work. Maybe it sits at your desk or otherwise with it. It's not everywhere all the time and kind of giving you a little bit more of that sort of flexibility throughout different aspects of life of just feeling like, okay, I can kind of step away from my phone, but I still have kind of more of the opportunity to interact with technology and AI just as like I'm looking to do. So I think as well, the big aspect of the bull case of like why you would be excited if you're, let's say, Meta to go after this space, and even for other players like Google or Samsung, is that if there is a platform shift and people really do take up these sorts of smart AI glasses in bulk, Apple isn't there yet. It's so clearly Apple is so dominant in the smartphone space. Of course, yes, Samsung, Xiaomi, there are other players, Huawei, but it's not something where anybody from a platform perspective is at the same place of where Apple is for the iPhone. And so just the opportunity to kind of like mark that territory and get into it could be hugely, hugely valuable as, buying patterns get shaped over the next decade or so as people start to think about how to incorporate AI into products and hardware. You want to be able to plant that flag there. And, I think you have to think about this not just as glasses revenue, like how much are you selling the glasses for? Is it $199, $299, $399, $499, $599? Like how much are you selling it for and how many units you're going to sell? But what sort of platform economics of having other people build apps on your glasses is really going to mean for you. So just like Apple has the App Store now and they're taking a commission on any of the developer revenue that comes in off of the App Store, there is this moment of like, okay, well, if everybody is using a set of AI glasses, people are going to want to build for that platform. And the first platform to really gain that dominance and that kind of size and scale is going to have a huge advantage in enticing developers to come in and build applications for it. And I think just from a builder's perspective, now seeing where we are with AI, where given some of the open source releases that we've had, it's now very clear that AI can work locally. It can work without internet. It can be relatively fast on your device. And I think that opens up a lot of applications when it comes to smart glasses, whether that's like out using it just where outside of cell phone service or like not have kind of thinking about it while you're driving or otherwise is more of like a heads up display. I think there's a lot of applications where it's just nice to not have any sort of thought process of like whether this will work or get you certain responses with it. And so I think that's pretty helpful, to it, the fact that you can really put a large language model essentially on a device. And I think we're seeing that come together now. I think the other tech part that we're already seeing, and now it's just more of a matter of incorporating it in, is like real time AI translation. So thinking about language, like, okay, going from Spanish to English or French to Spanish, or like all of these sorts of combinations for it, that AI translation in real time, I think, is a killer use case for some people with AI glasses. If you think of like tourists, expats, people that are working with in different environments where they don't speak the language, having that kind of AI real time translation is really awesome. And it is just a lot more practical, maybe than pulling out your phone if you're, let's say, in a work environment or otherwise with it. And again, just having that kind of like local, on device type of translation, so you're not dependent on internet, I think could be pretty strong. And I think the big point with this is that we're not waiting for like, oh, this would be a great technology if this other thing got developed and like was ready to go. No, like these technologies for AI translation in real time for language, like that's already here. And it's now just more a matter of like bundling it in and incorporating it into the product. So that really de-risks some of the aspects of wearables that didn't exist before. If we kind of think about like going back to like Google Glass 2013 or thereabouts or otherwise, like there wasn't the same level of technology to kind of make that amazing right off the bat as there is today. So I think it provides a pretty compelling why now for the market, and why this would likely work and be kind of an attractive place to be. And the spacing of the market, I mean, you really are kind of talking about multiple markets here, right? So I think most people are kind of initially just thinking about this as like consumer, right? Like, will people want to wear this walking down the street? What is going to be the reaction to that? Is there going to be kind of a backlash to people wearing AI glasses? I think a lot of the companies have learned from Google Glass and are kind of thinking about this as like, let's get some fashion forward people, let's get models, let's get people that have good looks and otherwise, to kind of like get people thinking like, oh, okay, cool, people are wearing this, and overcome some of the stigma that might be around it. So I think they're being smart obviously on consumer, but there are a lot of other applications like healthcare, defense, I mean manufacturing, probably a lot of like field applications, being out in the field and working and otherwise with it, where this could help make people more productive. And I think it becomes easier for businesses to kind of justify, spending a couple $100 for making their workforce more productive. And that could help get some like additional volume going in this. And if you think about it too, like there's a lot of situations where people wear safety glasses or otherwise already for work outside of just prescription glasses or sunglasses. So I do think that there are a lot of applications for it where it will fit in more. And I think that will probably drive these companies to really think like, okay, if we can get some of the adoption really snowballing, it could start to take off more and more, and get a stronger uptake. And I think we saw from Meta, I think they sold about 1 million units with Ray-Ban in the past year or so, and they're looking to do about 10 million in the course of 2026. So I think people are planning, right? The corporations they're projecting, and they're kind of seeing that as like, okay, we should have more of an uptake here, more stuff coming with it. And the last part, just from a bullishness perspective, I think is more from a meta Facebook perspective here, which is like, oh my God, ads, right? Sure, everything I just said, like definitely applies to Samsung and otherwise, but there's just something with Meta and being able to really target the ads here of like, okay, you're using the glasses and like the billboards are being replaced with other billboards, or like you are just being targeted in a way that, that an advertising company is probably only can dream of. And I'm sure that Google is also thinking in these ways, maybe more location based. They've got, Google Maps and kind of some of the information that they're bringing to the table there. So I think that's kind of where people are probably most salivating. And I do think that kind of draws a distinction within the wearables crowd of Meta and Google probably view the space a little bit differently than, let's say, like Samsung, Xiaomi, or even Apple, just because of the advertising bent and what they're probably willing to do, how they're willing to push the envelope and otherwise, and where they think they can really turn this into like a huge revenue stream if they're able to get it going. So those are the bull cases. I do think there's some like bearish caution here. Like we got to be careful with it. I think first and foremost, like let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, do the dogs like the chow, right? I mean, is this something where people want to put artificial intelligence on their face, right? Like big question here for it. And you can always kind of postulate or say like, yeah, this would be great. And would it be awesome if everybody bought this? But like, do people actually want it? We don't know that yet. We can think that, hey, there's been some good uptake initially or otherwise, but you're still talking the very earliest adopters are the people that are getting their feet wet with this. And I think some of this is driven by like battery anxiety. I mean, these are on your face, right? Like close to your brain and everything like that. They got to just kind of get over that and get this into something that's more mass market. But it's not just the battery and what that could be like being right on your face. It's also like the anxiety of, hey, I've got my phone, it's already on my mind as like some mental overhead of when am I charging it, is it charged, et cetera. And just like, people are busy, they've got a lot of stuff, especially within consumer applications. Like, is this just another thing that I have to worry about and be anxious that like is going to run out of battery in 2 hours after putting it on my face? And like, I'm kind of stuck with it. What am I doing? Does it go in my pocket? Like how does this all work with it? Not that it can't be solved, but like, I think these are legitimate things that can slow things down. You also got privacy questions like who is recording who, and how do you know if people are kind of recording you, and is it listening to conversations? When do you turn that off? How do you control that? Like privacy, because it's not just a single player aspect. Like if you are in a conversation with someone and you are wearing AI glasses, like they are part of it. They're kind of mixed in the whole thing. I think there are some real questions there. I think how people really react to that, how that's going to be kind of perceived, still very much unknown, but an obvious one to be kind of thinking about. And I'm not sure if this gives like players like Google and Meta more of an advantage, let's say, over startups that might be coming out with new products or brands that haven't been kind of nearly well as established, or if it works, the advertising aspect works again and against them, and they're kind of like, okay, well, now these companies are going to be seeing everything that I do and otherwise and just tailoring ads to me. It's just a different trade-off. I think it can all be overcome, but really being thoughtful about that, I'm sure, is some of the aspects that these folks are working on right now. I think the other aspect here is like, is this the thing to be focused on? Not that it couldn't be a niche type market or that they might not sell 10 million glasses a year or otherwise, but is this really the thing to bet big on for it? I think that's still an open question. I think, there are reasons to believe that this does land as something pretty big, but I can understand some of the caution here. Personally, I do think that it's worth the risk for it. And these are big boys. They've got the ability to kind of go after multiple priorities here. And I think it's kind of a no-brainer to take that shot, to go after it and make that happen. The other aspect here is just like conceptualizing what the development environment would look like. Like, what is the platform play here? If I'm a developer and I'm thinking about making an application for these AI glasses, like, what does that look like? Like, is there enough surface area on the screen? Is it mostly notifications? Like, these are all things that are going to take some time to develop. I think we can look back to like 2007 when the iPhone came out, and like the first thing was like a flashlight app, right? And like different calculator basic, right, to get started. And like that was obvious. And it was only until like it took a little bit of time before like Uber came out and was like, okay, like let's use the GPS. Like, brilliant move, but that wasn't immediately obvious to people right off the bat with the apps being built right then and there. So hopefully this is something where I think that the bigger players can kind of mitigate that and learn from the 2007 to 2009 period on the iPhone to really figure out, okay, how can we if we can get an early lead as the leading platform here, how can we turbocharge development and get going? But the caution is like Vision Pro from Apple, and they kind of poison the well a little bit here, Apple, by not getting kind of where they wanted to get to with Vision Pro. I'm not sure you'd call it a flop, but like certainly not a success. And that hurts kind of like the mentality of getting developers to engage early with a new platform, because everyone kind of has it in their mind of like, didn't we try some of this? And like, do people really want things on their face? Now, Vision Pro is pretty different, right? I mean, ski goggles versus sunglasses type of distinction, just different on your face and kind of a different aspect of it. But I do think that's going to kind of carry over in people's heads to some degree and might make developers a little bit more cautious and kind of jumping in. But look, all of that to say, I do think this is like worth the shot. You got to take the shot on something big like this if you can be really that leader on a platform. And I don't think it's pie in the sky to think that the tech is there. I think a lot of this actually comes down to the marketing and the positioning, how to get it out there. And just seeing Meta making moves, whether it's with Luxottica, Ray-Ban, thinking about the fashion elements of it. I think everybody's trying to take this really seriously and think about what is everything that we can learn from the Google Glass experience and how do we make this thing successful. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Well, comment down below if we missed anything and subscribe to get more business with Arnold.